Right, so Sheffield United have just been promoted, and it seems like no one actually knows or no one actually cares. So I'm giving Sheffield United their bit of clarity, their bit of publicity overall for being promoted in this video, and yeah, it's probably been overshadowed massively, in fairness, by the Premier League final, so to speak, last night between Man City and Arsenal. And yeah, Sheffield United have been promoted back to the Premier League after 2 seasons without it. Under Paul Heckingbottom, following a 2-0 victory over West Brom at Bramall Lane last night, they secured themselves a place in the Premier League, joining Burnley next season. And yeah, basically in this video I'm going to be going through, first of all, going through a little bit of a tactical analysis on Sheffield United and just how, yeah, they've got themselves promoted basically with the personnel they've got as well, highlighting some key players that have contributed massively to their promotion. And third of all, answering the big question, the mother of all questions, my early predictions on whether I think Sheffield United will be able to stay up from relegation next season in the Premier League. But obviously, hypothetical situation given the fact the transfer window hasn't even happened yet, and a lot will change between now and August, but of course an early prediction is an early prediction. And yeah, I guess we'll just get straight into the video. But first of all, subscribe to the channel, do it right now, hit that big fat juicy succulent subscribe button. You've been an absolute legend in helping me get to 3,000 subscribers on this channel as soon as we can bloody get there. Hit that like button as well if you do want to enjoy this video, especially Sheffield United fans. Help a brother out here, and turn on that bloody notification bell as well, because you will never miss any one of these absolutely magnificent succulent videos. I don't know why I've said succulent, but yeah, let's just get into this video now anyway. So obviously just a bit of context on the championship table and how we currently stand right now. Sheffield United on 85 points, having won their last 3 games, including that 2-0 win against West Brom that has clinched their return to the Premier League after a 2-year absence. They go up with 3 games to spare, even though Luton only have 2 games left. They have 78 points and Sheffield United obviously have 85, so mathematically they weren't able to catch Sheffield United. And to be fair to Sheffield United, it's been pretty comfortable all season in terms of, obviously the championship is not an easy league to navigate whatsoever, but at not one point in the season were they ever really under massive threat for that second place spot. And obviously Burnley have absolutely walked away with the first place spot, but besides a kind of, you know, a bit of a surge from Middlesbrough around 3/4 of the way into the season, they haven't really been under threat with regards to getting that second automatic promotion spot. Look, from a neutral fan's perspective, it's a little bit boring, I can't lie, especially given the fact that we've got now 2 teams in Burnley and Sheffield United who have been in the Premier League most recently. Burnley obviously got relegated just last season, and Sheffield United obviously only been in the championship for 2 seasons. But one thing I will say is Sheffield United are a very interesting team that play an interesting style of play. The overlapping centre-backs, which obviously was synonymous with Chris Wilder's style of play with Sheffield United when they were previously in the Premier League between 2019 and 2021, and Paul Heckingbottom has stuck with that overlapping centre-backs style of play with a few tweaks in the system overall. And that's exactly what I'm going to be now getting into with regards to how Sheffield United have set up tactically and yeah, how it's worked for them. So Paul Heckingbottom has chosen to set up this Sheffield United team in a 3-5-2 mostly this season, although he has used a 3-4-2-1 in a number of occasions as well. But 3-5-2 is the main system he has gone for in his time at Sheffield United this season. They're a very direct team, Sheffield United. They're 5th in the championship for direct speed, as you can see on screen, in terms of meters per second. And in terms of the system they play, here's why it's really interesting and adds a little bit something different. Like I said, they do like to play with those overlapping centre-backs, which is completely different to anything we've ever probably seen in the Premier League up until Chris Wilder integrated it with his Sheffield United team in 2019-20, which obviously was massively successful for them. And this adds extra width to the team, which allows obviously the wing-backs to get forward and add that main width, and obviously gives them more of a support in the final third and almost gives them a numerical advantage in the final third with the sheer amount of players they've got. So yeah, in total they really do like to play a very attacking and direct style of play, which, like I said for Vincent Kompany's Burnley in that video I did when Burnley got promoted a few weeks ago, it'll be interesting to see how Paul Heckingbottom tweaks this system a little bit now that they've got promotion to the Premier League, because like I said for Burnley under Vincent Kompany, they're not going to be able to play the same style of football, the exact same style of football in the Premier League, because they more than likely will get eaten alive, especially given the fact that they're not going to dominate games as much as they have done this season in the championship, given obviously the quality advantage they have over a lot of teams in the division this season. And yet essentially they do just like to crowd the final third with players with those wing backs. As you can see, this is a graphic for Sheffield United's average positions in their game against West Brom last night. As you can see, George Baldock on that right wing back position, very high up the pitch. The same with Anel Ahmedhodzic in the right centre back position, and Jack Robinson on the left centre back position, playing very high up as well. Ahmedhodzic is basically on the halfway line, as you can see. And then John Egan plays as that central centre back and essentially is used to cover for Ahmedhodzic and Robinson to give them more license to go forward and be more creative in possession, and yet is capable of dealing with those long balls over the top with his aerial ability. And yet John Egan has been an important cog in this Sheffield United system, given the fact that he is the main source of defending in this team in terms of outfielders, obviously. The wing backs in this system do play probably the most important role, given the fact they're the main sources of creativity, given George Baldock and Max Lowe, who have mainly been the chosen wing backs this season for Sheffield Sheffield United. They like to get forward, essentially play as traditional wingers, like I said, and get balls into the box, whether it be a cross or a cutback. And then in terms of the three-man midfield as well, it's really interesting, this one, in terms of the balance they've got, because first of all, you've got Ollie Norwood, who likes to sit back and just play the ball around, almost like in a regista role overall, where he likes to get on the ball, make things happen, keep the game ticking, and, you know, link from defence to attack. Then you've got Sander Berge in more of a box-to-box role, where he's got obviously bundles of energy, able to get forward and able to be effective at both ends of the pitch, and has seen him contribute to a few goals this season as well. And then you've got James McAtee, who plays in the midfield three on paper, but as you can see from that graphic again, is the most advanced player in this Sheffield United team, even more advanced than the two strikers in Iliman Ndiaye and Ollie McBurney, which is really interesting because it shows he's given a heck of a lot of licence to get forward and contribute in the final third for Sheffield United and be one of those outlets going forward as well, which shows how direct and how attack-minded this Sheffield United team are more than anything in the Championship this season. And with the fact they commit so many players forward in terms of the centre-backs, the wing-backs, and most of the midfielders as well as the strikers obviously, it means that when they've lost the ball and they're out of possession, they are able to win the ball back high up the pitch given how many men they have in the opposition half, and if the press is beaten, they then retreat into a mid-block, and then the two strikers press from the front if the opposition breaks into their half. And finally then, to cap off the team, you've got that almost a big man little man front two of Ndiaye and McBurney, which has worked an absolute treat for Sheffield United this season. McBurney obviously more of a physical presence, more of an aerial presence, able to win those aerial duels and obviously more physical. Ndiaye more of an obviously nippy forward who's capable of, beating his man in the dribble. And even though they're two completely different profiles of players overall, both do offer, a similar output in terms of their energy off the ball, their pressing ability, and their industry off the ball as well, which massively helps in this Sheffield United team, who overall, they massively pride themselves on their sheer work rate and work ethic off the ball and the energy and the teamwork overall in this Sheffield United team, which obviously has been a massive factor in why Sheffield United have been so good this season, is their ability to be a unit, and I think that will go a long way to helping them stay up in the Premier League next season, is that teamwork and that cohesion. And like I said, just in terms of a few standout players, Iliman Ndiaye, who has been in my opinion one of their players of the season, if not their player of the season, 13 goals, 9 assists in 40 starts, 22 contributions overall in the Championship, and just to put that into context, their next best is Ollie McBurney with 13, so it just shows how important he's been in terms of creating chances and scoring chances for Sheffield United up front, and not only that as well, he creates 3.24 shot creating actions per 90 and averages 2.44 successful take-ons per 90 and 2.09 progressive carries per 90, as well as 2.22 tackles and interceptions per 90, which leaves him in the top 1% of players in Europe for that stat, which just shows how complete Ndiaye is in possession and his work rate off the ball as well, hence why he's been such a key figure. And now Ahmedhodzic as well, who's been one of the signings of the summer in the Championship, 1.95 carries into the final third, which is absolutely obscene for a centre-back, but obviously the style of play does suit that massively, and 1.46 shot creating actions per 90, 0.65 key passes per 90, which are two stats that are very high for centre-backs once again in comparison, and 4.13 tackles and interceptions per 90 as well, which just shows that even in this role where he's more advanced than the natural centre-back, he's still very, very strong in terms of his defensive output as well, and has been a massively successful signing for Sheffield United this season, Ahmedhodzic. Jack Robinson the same, because I don't want to leave him out, because even though he's not as, say, flashy as Ahmedhodzic, he has been just as effective in this Sheffield United team this season, especially given the fact he plays slightly deeper on average than Ahmedhodzic this season. But again, 0.79 key passes per 90 and 1.4 shot creating actions per 90. Absolutely brilliant for a centre-back overall, but like I said, the system that he does play in obviously massively contributes to that. Then you've got Sander Berge operating in that box-to-box midfield role. I was really surprised when Sheffield United went down and Sander Berge wasn't snapped up by any Premier League club, to be honest, because I really do rate this guy overall. 3.03 progressive carries per 90, 0.98 carries into the penalty area per 90. Shows obviously he is an asset in possession for his ability to carry the ball forward. Not only that as well, is energetic and offers you a bit of industry and a bit of bite off the ball as well, covers ground, and is an asset overall in the Sheffield United team, no doubt. And then you've got Ollie Norwood in midfield, like I said, who does like to, pull the strings really in this Sheffield United team in that deep line playmaker role almost. He averages 2.24 key passes per 90, 4.22 shot creating actions per 90 from deep, and 7.63 passes into the final third per 90, as well as 4.58 tackles and interceptions per 90, which just shows that he plays that role absolutely almost to perfection. So Sheffield United are an interesting one from a tactical perspective, and like I said, it will be interesting to see how Heckingbottom does, tinker with this style a little bit in the Premier League to get the best out of the Sheffield United team. And as for how I think Sheffield United will do in the Premier League next season, do I think they'll be able to survive relegation? Overall, I think it's going to be a really, really tough one, especially given the fact that I think there was a similar enough case to Bournemouth last season, where a lot of people were kind of just almost treating them like they're not even part of the league and they're just here to make up the numbers, which Sheffield United most certainly will not be next season, trust me on that one, because especially with Bramall Lane, where the fans are so important to the success of Sheffield United, and I think that was one of the main reasons why they got relegated when they did in 2021, because obviously with there being no fans because of COVID, Sheffield United missed that Bramall Lane atmosphere, which did play a massive factor in their success the previous season. So obviously having that back next season in the Premier League will be massive for them. I just think in terms of themselves and Burnley, I think they're probably more likely to go down given the quality difference between Burnley and Sheffield United. But look, obviously it's pretty much irrelevant right now because obviously, like I said, the transfer window hasn't happened yet. A lot can change between now and the start of the season in the first week of August. And if Sheffield United were to do some obviously good transfer business, I could completely change my mind, and I will be doing obviously a Premier League predictions video before the start of the season in August. So yeah, stay tuned to the channel for that one. If you want to stick around for the whole summer, be my guest. But yeah, Sheffield United fans, let me know in the comment section below, have I hit the nail on the head with my analysis of your club, or am I talking absolute shit? Let me know in the comment section below. And yeah, like I said, leave a like on the video if you did enjoy, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I will see you guys in my next video, and yeah, chat to you later.